Hey guys, what is up? It is Chris from the WWFuInterNetwork. Yet again here with another interview. This time, you've seen him on TNA, you've seen him in Ring of Honor. I am here with Nigel McGuinness. How you doing, Nigel?
I'm good, mate. You?
I'm great. This is very exciting, very exciting. So, I guess we'll just get going with the questions. Now, you had a very extensive career. You just recently retired. Looking back at your entire career, do you have any regrets? Would you change anything, or are you just proud of all of your work?
I am proud of all of my work. I'd certainly do something differently. I think I'd be smarter with the use of my time. I'd be more proactive about trying to get to WWE earlier. I think I would have tried to, hit the ground running and do more shows earlier in different places. And that's probably pretty much what I'd do differently. Is just try and be more proactive. And I think were people to come to me now, starting out in the wrestling business, and not ask for advice, that's what I'd say to them. Just understand you have a very limited window of making money as a wrestler, and you've got to be aggressive.
Exactly. Now, I'm sure you were a wrestling fan as a kid. When did you realize that you wanted to actually become a pro wrestler?
I was about 14, I suppose. There was a few different things that sort of inspired me. There was a documentary by one of the British veterans, Robbie Brookside, that I saw on TV that kind of inspired, I think, a lot of guys of my generation. And going to Wembley Stadium, watching SummerSlam, that was kind of where I sat there and said, I'm going to do this,
Oh, that's great. I actually, that's basically how I want to get in. I basically just started watching wrestling, and I want to basically kind of go through you and Bryan Danielson's type of deal, just wrestle over the world basically. That's basically what I want to do, hopefully, when I get to the age where I can start wrestling, because it's been a big dream of mine to do it for a while, and I just, see you guys doing it. It's absolutely awesome, so.
Yeah, just be smart. Like I said, I understand that, for everyone like Dragon that makes it, there's 100 people like him that don't. So
yeah, exactly. Now, was it a dream of yours to become a superstar, or did you want to become an amazing pro wrestler? Did you want to be a recognizable TV guy, or did you want to be just an overall awesome pro wrestler?
I think I definitely wanted to be recognizable. My notion of being a wrestler when I was a kid was what you saw on TV, traveling the world, making, a lot of money, and, being able to influence people for better or for worse. I think that's kind of what we all sort of admire in famous people, is that ability to, have people listen to what you say.
Exactly. So how did you become affiliated with Ring of Honor? You were definitely there in one of the earlier stages, coming in, and, how did, was there someone you knew that was in Ring of Honor, or did you just basically go and try out and they just liked you, or?
What happened is that BJ Whitmer and Matt Stryker, who trained in the same place as me in Cincinnati, HWA, they'd been driving out to Philadelphia for free to, try and earn their spots on Ring of Honor. They both did really well. I got spots, and then they basically gave my tape to Gabe to take a look at, and he booked me on their first show in Dayton, so I went from there.
All right. Now, what match do you think really brought you to the main event level in Ring of Honor?
I guess I'd say that match with Dragon in England.
Oh yeah, that's a great match. Honestly, I swear that's every time I talk to fans that watch Ring of Honor, that match always comes up some way or another. Whenever you're brought up or Dragon's brought up. So would you say that's your favorite match with Dragon, or did you think?
No. Favorite match. Favorite match makes it sound like I enjoyed them. No, I mean, for me, wrestling. I never wanted to be a tough guy in wrestling. I never wanted to be a badass. I never wanted to be any of those sort of things. I'm not saying I am. I kind of wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to just have fun with it. Not dissimilar to Colt Cabana, that goes out there and entertains fans. Still does, amazing stuff athletically and puts on great matches, but certainly, isn't going out there and killing himself all the time. you know. So favorite matches are usually the ones where, you know, there's not so much pressure, and I'm certainly not putting myself at so much risk physically. But yeah, I would certainly say that was one of my best matches with Dragon, certainly, definitely, you know. But we were both in that position where, you know, we felt like we had something to prove, you know, we proved that we were good enough to be in that position.
Of course, of course. Now, you said you wanted to be more entertaining as a wrestler, so who do you feel you just go out there and be just pure entertaining and all the fans would just walk away just happy? Like, happy that, you know, they just were giving their, you know, all their entertainment they wanted. Who do you feel you would go out there and that would just work perfectly?
Who did you say?
Yeah, who?
As in somebody who's currently wrestling, who?
Anyone you've worked with, anyone you see now on TV.
I mean, I love Santino. Like, when I was able to watch WWE, like, that was the reason I watched for the most part. Him and Evan Bourne and Ziggler and you know, Punk as well. But it was really Santino that from the second he walked out to the second his segment was finished, it was just brilliant for me. It was just so entertaining. I was talking to someone recently, and I can't remember who it was now. Maybe in Aries, but you know, he talked about how back when wrestling was at its popularity highest, there was lots of that sort of funny stuff going on. I mean, you know, you had Austin and Rock, but they were entertaining, and it wasn't just, you know, serious stuff. It was funny, entertaining stuff at the same time, you know. And so I think Santino is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah, he's great. I was so excited when he won the United States title because I just felt they were trying to, you know, the United States title, it's been held by, you know, somewhat more serious kind of wrestlers, and I felt that would just give, you know, they were just trying to have fun, and I appreciate that. I do enjoy when you guys go out and just basically kill each other, but I also love it when you guys go out and just want to have just put on pure entertainment. That's also awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for everything. You know, in that Ring of Honor style, and that main event Ring of Honor style, which obviously is heavily influenced by, you know, Japan and the All Japan and Pro Wrestling now style. There's a place for that, you know, and but you can't do it all the time. And if you do, then your career is going to be very short.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how much you're going to give away in the documentary, so I don't want to really just spoil anything about the documentary. I don't know if you address this or not. But with the countless rumors regarding WWE, would you like to give, like, how close were you to being officially signed?
I had a signed contract.
Oh,
you know, I had a signed contract that was not a developmental deal. Like, this was we're going to be on the road. We're bringing up to TV straight away.
Oh wow! So I'm sure you'll mention this in the documentary, but was it just like a personal matter that didn't work out with WWE, or was it just it wasn't what you were looking for, or it wasn't what they were looking for?
I mean, they had issues. They had concerns about certain, you know, certain injuries that I'd had in the past. That was their concern, I think, and it really came down to their doctor. You know, it wasn't. I don't think it was even their decision. You know, it was kind of taken out of their hands, the way they said to the doctor, "You make the call," and their doctor made the call. You know, so I think it was the wrong call, absolutely. But that's his job. He has to protect his job. He has to stand by what he thinks, and you know, who's know what I would have done if I was in his situation. You know, ultimately, I think everybody lost out. I think I lost out on my dream and making, you know, the money that I felt I deserved. And they lost out on someone who, you know, arguably was one of the better wrestlers in the world and had honed his craft for 10 years to be there, and could draw them some money. So it was a loss all around.
Exactly. Just, you know, it always just, it made me kind of just upset. Like, I always see, like, you're one of my favorites. When I basically would follow you, you went to TNA, then now you just showed up on Ring of Honor, and I just always used to question myself, like, you know, all these other guys who aren't so great are getting signed to contracts, but they're just basically skipping out on guys who actually do deserve contracts. That's what kind of irritates me in the end. With, like,
it's not, you never get anything in wrestling because you deserve it. You know, I mean, no one's ever given anyone a job. Oh, he deserves a job, so I'll give him one.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, there are exceptions to the rule. You know, I think certain guys or certain people from the old school, from Vince McMahon Senior, you know, that were loyal to them. I think a lot of those guys kind of got jobs behind the scenes because of, you know, they deserved them. But nowadays, you know, people on the street, people who are making a name for themselves, and no one gets anything because they deserve it. You get something because they think you could draw them money, and it's dollars and cents. It's business, you know. It's as simple as that. And in their mind, they didn't think that, you know, what I could draw on them was worth the risk of the injuries I'd had, you know, which, as I said, in my mind is a bad business decision, but in their mind it wasn't. So, you know, that's their decision. I can't argue with it. All I can do is put myself in a position to where I feel like I'm valuable to them, and if they don't feel that way, you know, I've done my best.
All right. So in the midst of this, you came into relations with TNA. How did that happen?
They'd expressed an interest for a few months beforehand. You know, I think one of the guys that wrote for the national newspaper in England had actually talked to Dixie, and you know, she was interested in hiring new guys, specifically guys from England, because that was going to be a new market for them. And the writer, Patrick Lennon, who writes for the Daily Star, mentioned me to Dixie. I think she'd heard of me briefly. She came to Ring of Honor show and was very interested in me. At the time, I was under contract to Ring of Honor, so they couldn't do anything at that point. But when my contract was come up and they, you know, heard that I was going to WWE, but I hadn't actually signed, it wasn't all done and delivered, they made an offer, and as push came to shove, it was the best offer that I had made to me. It was the only offer I had made to me.
All right, so then you've basically come to TNA now. Was there just like they told you they were going to do big things? Because you basically came in, you feuded with Angle. Who basically decided that you know, you were going to come in and just take on a guy the caliber of Angle? That was awesome. Like,
yeah. I don't know who. I mean, you know, there's so many chiefs in TNA. I'm not sure who had the final say. So I know Vince had a big hand in it. And I could be wrong. You know, your guess is as good as mine. But I get the sense that Booker T was originally figured in for the Angle with Angle, and instead of doing that, he decided to go back to WWE. However, that all transpired, I don't know. And then so Angle was left without someone to be in a feud with, and you know, they hired me and pushed me right into that spot.
so how was it working with Angle? I actually saw you two go at it. I was at the Brooklyn house show in 2010 at MCU Park, and you guys were awesome. Like, it was just, it was great. Best match on the card, honestly. And
yeah, well, you know, you can't go wrong with Kurt Angle. He doesn't have bad matches.
exactly.
You know, he has good matches with anybody, and you know, he has great matches with a lot of people. So it was a huge boon to me, a great opportunity for me. You know, and not to sell myself short. You know, I feel like I'm more than held up my side of the bargain. You know, you mentioned that show in New York, a match like that. You know, would barely, you know, raise an eyebrow as an opening match in Ring of Honor, you know. And that's the difference in the styles, in the crowd, and what people expect out of you. You know, we could go out there and not do a whole lot, not kill ourselves, just have a perfectly acceptable, psychologically sound match and get over great. And you know, and that's why I get sometimes very frustrated when people in wrestling sort of look down their nose at Ring of Honor and a lot of the stuff that we've all done in Ring of Honor, whether it's me, Dragon, Punk, whoever it was, and say, well, it's just, you know, it's just high spots and it's just this. It's fucking bullshit. And it's the toughest crowd in the world to get over with, and I will put my body of work against any other body of work in any other company. And I think Joe, Punk, Dragon, Aries, I think they'll feel the same way, you know?
Exactly. It's just, I've never been to a personal Ring of Honor show. I know tons of people who have, and I don't want to call them spoiled, but you guys really, you put it all on the line, and I almost can't believe the audacity of people to kind of just be like, that wasn't good. Like, you guys are, Ring of Honor especially, you guys are legitimately killing each other, the kicks, the chops, the punches. It's like absolutely brutal, and you know, any fan who can't appreciate that, in my mind, is not a real wrestling fan.
Well, it's tough, you know. We raised the bar to the level now that, you know, once you've seen those sort of matches, it's difficult to, you know, tone it down and expect people to be as entertained. You know, so I understand that there's no, you know, no one owes anybody anything in the wrestling business. You know, people don't owe us to continue to watch and support the product. You know, I'd hope they'd have some level of humanity in the sense they'd understand the physical issues involved, and that, you know, we can't go out there and have, you know, 7, you know, 5-star matches on the show, because the 7th match wouldn't be 5 stars. That's how it works. You have to build it. It's like a movie, you know. You can't put all the highlights of the movie in the first 10 minutes. It's just not going to work, you know. That's the way. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the fans, you know, I guess arguably came from that sort of ECW arena where they wanted instant gratification all the time, you know. And if they don't get that, then, you know, some of them don't feel that way. But that's a small portion of it, you know. And I think a much larger portion of Ring of Honor fans are very respectful, and you know, do understand and appreciate all the physical duress that we go there, you know. And not to say that they're gonna go crazy for a match that doesn't blow them away, but, you know, they're not going to be disrespectful.
Exactly. Now that you're back with Ring of Honor, you're the color commentator. Now you're there for everything. Now, who do you see, you know, on the current roster of Ring of Honor as being potentially the future of the company, and even to go as far as saying the future of the world of pro wrestling?
It's really tough to say, because I think, you know, you could have asked me that question in 2003, 2005. Anytime, and I don't think anybody looking at Ring of Honor in 2005 would have thought that I would have become the champion that I did and go on to TNA and all that sort of stuff as well. I don't know, maybe, arguably not, but you know, I know there are guys there, the Briscoes, I think, you know, been there since day one pretty much, and they're a team that, you know, they've got nothing else to prove in Ring of Honor. They've done everything they possibly can, you know, and they're certainly, you know, a fantastic cornerstone to that company. I think Kevin Steen is, you know, definitely a possible huge superstar for that company. It's just, you don't know until the belt's on someone. You don't know if, you know, until someone's put in that main event position, you know, whether they're going to connect on that level. You know, Davey's, you know, done well in the 6 or 8 months that he's been the champion now, and Eddie's another guy as well. Tommaso Ciampa is a guy that, you know, he's just a couple of changes away from being in that main event bracket. There's a lot of guys there. Jimmy Jacobs, in my mind, is a guy who, you know, just with a couple of tweaks and the right sort of angle and push can be a top guy too.
I actually just slightly marked out when you said Kevin Steen, because honestly, Kevin Steen, that he's basically, Ring of Honor, I think, you know, Kevin Steen set the bar so high in 2010. You know, when he left in 2011, it felt like, you know, we want more Steen. And when he came back, you know, everyone knows, like, a lot of people want him to go really far in the company. And I think you can ask any Ring of Honor fan, he'll easily be one of their favorite guys to come out and see, because I think, you know, he is the tough wrestler, but he does give you that overall variety of entertainment as well, because he cuts great promos. And it's just, I think he's just has an overall great sadistic character to him that just makes him so appealing.
Yeah, he's arguably the epitome of an independent wrestler, in the sense that, you know, he doesn't subscribe to all the notions of what you have to be a professional wrestler. You know, by his own admission, he doesn't look like a bodybuilder. You know, he doesn't necessarily go to the gym, but he loves professional wrestling as much as anybody. He's a student of the game. He's worked hard. He's willing to put his life on the line, entertain fans and stuff like that. Arguably sometimes too much so, you know. And I think a lot of fans really identify with him because of that, you know, because they're, you know, arguably a lot of Ring of Honor fans that are kind of counterculture, and they like guys that, you know, kind of buck the system.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so, you know, you decided to retire recently. Like, when did you really just sit down and say, you know, I just want to, you know, take off the boots and just, you know, live the rest of my life outside of the ring? When did that basically come to you?
End of September, maybe August sort of time. I think something like that. You know, I basically decided that I'd done everything outside of WWE that, you know, I could do in wrestling, and I didn't want to carry on and add a postscript to my career that I didn't feel was gonna, you know, add much to it. You know, it's not a question of getting paid, because I'm outside WWE. I'm not going to make the sort of money that I can justify injuries and everything else like that, because as I saw in TNA, you can make, you know, a fair amount of money, you know, not enough to retire or even close to. But if you get injured, you get hurt or something else like that, it's all gone. It's all gone in a very short period of time, you know. I mean, WWE, you have a 3-month non-compete where they'll pay you even if they fire you, you know. If you get hurt, they'll take care of you. They'll pay for your surgery, all that sort of stuff, you know, which is admirable, you know, and you know, you have to admire a company that's willing to do that. Obviously, they have the money to do that, but at the same time, you know, that's, to me, the only place that I could justify wrestling, and unfortunately, I just didn't feel those opportunities were going to be forthcoming.
All right, so now you have the documentary coming out, and it's getting really highly anticipated. And I remember when you first tweeted it, you're like, "All right, just donate what you can." And then basically, like, I checked maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was like already fully done. The limit was reached, and it's actually getting over. Would you like to give us a little bit of a preview of what we can expect with the documentary?
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, you want a preview? Go to Kickstarter.com. Look at The Last of McGuinness, or just type Nigel into the search engine. You'll see the main highlight trailer. There's 4 highlight trailers of some of the highlights of the stuff that I taped. And so your guess is as good as mine. I've got a sense of what I'm going to do with it. I've got ideas of, themes that I want to present in it, and the sort of story that I went on with it. But until I really sit down and edit it all together, I don't know what the finished product is going to be like, I just know that there are certain things I want to try and present. I want to present my story, and to reward the people who have pledged money to see this story, and also give people who haven't, mainstream people, a sense of what professional wrestling at the independent level is really about. It's not about going out there and killing yourself. It's about the friendships that we make. It's about the passion and the dream that we all have. As fans. And for some of us, we never even take the first bump. For some of us, it's enough to just watch on TV or go to the shows and support in that way. And for other of us, we put more into it. But either way, whatever level you are, I think it's a wonderful niche form of entertainment. It's a wonderful part of Americana that, I'd like to see, get more respect in mainstream.
Exactly. Now, I guess we'll just end the interview on that high note. So I'll include the links in the description box, guys, if you want to donate to Nigel's documentary to see it definitely get done. And I just personally thank you, Nigel. This was a great interview. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know Ring of Honor, you guys are heading down to Fort Lauderdale, actually, this weekend. So I know you guys are probably all busy with that.
Yeah, we're going to be down there for 2 days, Friday and Saturday, Showdown in the Sun. Going to be some great shows, and there's going to be a few surprises as well. So when's this going to air?
This is basically, I'm editing it, putting it right up.
Okay, so that's nice. So fantastic. So anybody listening, you can get it on pay-per-view. Go Fight Live, I believe, is the company. Go to ROHWrestling.com to check it out. Please support it because, independent professional wrestling, you look at everybody that's left Ring of Honor. When I left, when Dragon left, when Joe left, when Punk left, we all said the same thing. We all said, please support Ring of Honor and independent professional wrestling after we leave, because if there isn't any independent professional wrestling, you're not going to have the superstars of the future, and WWE can say all what they want, and they will find guys, they'll find Rocks here and there, and they'll find Ortons here and there, and places like that, but the Jerichos, and the Punks, and the Dragons, and all the guys like that, from the past generations that, never would have had a job, never would have hired, never would have developed their styles if it were not for the world outside of WWE. So it's ever so important that we support that. And, with that in mind as well, the Kickstarter thing, I've got about 15 days left. And I'm going to really do a big push towards the end. And, if you can go there and watch it, and, if you feel like it's something you want to see, don't wait for it to come out, raise the money now, and that way we can get this product out there as good as possible to as many people as possible. Film festivals, we can make this really huge. We can make our voice heard. So please support the product, and thank you, thank everyone.
So thank you, Nigel, for stopping by. And guys, this is Chris from the WWFuInterNetwork signing out. Thank you, guys.